Hi, I'm Candace. This is Yoga Movement Improvement. Hi, I'm Candace, and I'd like you to join me down on a mat. Put on something comfortable, and let's come all the way down to a seated pose. So let's just start with a gentle rock side side. What I want you to notice as we begin movement improvement today is that there's a certain weight distribution. Most of what we do is shifting from one side to the other. We don't go forward, and we almost never go backward, but we normally just go side to side. You may not notice it. Maybe after today's class you will notice it. So then find center. Let the knees fall down below the level of the hips. Let's slow down here. I want to invite you in. So slowly and politely take a seat and put everything else on pause. Let the hands relax down. Soften the shoulders down and back. Embrace the lower abdominals. Remember, the chakras inform the other spaces in the body on how to be and how to receive energy. With your eyelids lowered now, inhale through your nose. And exhale through your nose. Again, inhale through your nose. Exhale. Keep the lower belly, abdominal muscles pulled slightly in, so draw the navel towards the spine. Keep that breath pattern going. We all want to feel connected. We all want to feel recognized and accepted. If you've ever felt disconnected, you know how important it is to be with the presence of another. So the heart chakra, the anahata, that's the heart chakra, connects us in a meaningful way to others, to the world, to something more than our own physical being. So when we inhale, we move the lungs, we move the diaphragm. When we exhale, the diaphragm releases and the lungs empty. When we inhale, the diaphragm muscle goes down, pulling the rib cage open. When we exhale, the diaphragm muscle goes up, letting the ribs return back to a small chest space. Now, not necessarily related to the breathing, the heart has 4 chambers. The blood goes in and it's pumped out to the lungs. It picks up the oxygen, goes back to the heart, goes in, and then in a big pump is moved out to the body. It's collected, it goes back to the heart. It's pumped to the lungs, picks up the oxygen, goes back to the heart. And one big pump is pushed out into the body. So that is not necessarily in sync with the breath. The breath actually can be very slow or almost non-existent. So take a deep breath in now. Fill up to the top of the ribs. Hold your breath. And then just let it go. Now try a rhythmic breath. 3 in, 2, 1. Hold. 3 out. 2, 3. Hold. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Hold. In. 2, 3. Hold. Out. 2, 3. One more time rhythmically. In. 2, 3. Hold. Out. 2, 3. Now just inhale, exhale through the nose as rhythmically and relatively as slowly as you can. So don't hold your breath. When it's time to inhale, inhale. When it's time to exhale, exhale. But notice the pattern of a circle. The circulatory system, right? I just described to you how the blood goes around and through the body, back to the heart and the lungs and body, heart, lungs, body, heart, lungs, body. And the breath has a cycle. We're going to work today on the heart chakra, the anahata, and movement improvement, how we distribute weight by noticing our posture and our slow connected movement patterns. So moving with grace. One more breath in and out. We'll open our eyes and I'll come off of my blanket and sit on my hips and stretch one leg out. Doesn't matter to me right now how you're stretching that out, just stretch one leg out. So when you just did that transition, I'm going to slow it down next time we do it. But notice that you transitioned. You took something out, you sat on your hips, you stretched one leg out, you shifted everything. You probably didn't notice at all how you got here. You just got here because I asked you to get here. Turn towards the leg and push down. I'm going to straddle this leg and push down. If my little arms don't reach out, this is an opportunity to use the blocks, but push down into the floor. Notice that your hips are the pivot point. Our legs are really quite long and heavy because they are. And then our torso, when you add in the head, of course, is heavy. It's not as long, but it's heavy. So the hips and the top rim of the pelvis becomes sort of the pivot for changing weight distribution. So whenever we're transitioning, and right now you're either at the very end of something or you're at the beginning of something. But what I know about right now in time and space around us, we're in a transition. We're at the end of one thing and we're at the beginning of something. So whatever that is for you, recognize that. Push down to elongate the trunk. So the spine is getting as long as this leg. So it's always two things moving in opposing directions. That's hatha yoga. The next thing I want you to notice is that your eyes are probably looking at me. I want you to try to not look at me. That would make me happy anyway. I want you to use the sound of my voice to direct an inner guide, like a little Sherpa taking you along on your journey. So your eyes now should be gazing kind of down your nose. They're like half closed, and down kind of towards, your foot. That would be a good place. So that your spine is directed in the direction of where your eyes are looking. So you might think, I should be looking up to make my spine long, but not really, because that would then crack your neck back. So your eyes are looking in the direction. So my spine is sort of turning its eyes towards this long leg, so that I'm balancing the long leg and then its weight through the pivot point of the hips and up the spine and then up the back crown of the head. Now try that rhythmic breath. Inhale, 3, hold, exhale, 3, hold. One more time. Inhale, 3, hold, exhale. Now brace the lower belly. Take this other leg, I don't know what year it was before, but watch how you pick it up to put the sole of the foot on the floor. So watch how you did that. Notice my whole body, if you're looking at me, you don't have to, but my whole body moved with it. So I have to correct for that. For me, I'm going to walk this foot out further so both sits bones. Remember we started out shifting right and left. Do that again so that you can feel which hip bone is sort of on the floor and which one is levitating a little up off the floor. Because one knee is bent, it's natural for one pelvic bone to be tipped a little bit further backward of the bent knee. That's normal. But then counter that by squeezing the low back muscles inward and upward, almost like you're trying to draw your waistband onto your thigh. Interlace your hands around the shin here and give it a pull with the arms. All right, drishti, that's the gaze of the physical eyes. Now try closing your eyes. Your eyes don't go away because you close the blinds in front of them, and your eyes are still seeing. What they're seeing, though, is different. So now with your eyelids closed, inhale that 3 count breath and the hold. Exhale that 3 count breath and hold. As you're doing that, see with your eyes, and your eyelids are closed, but see the heart being drawn like a magnet forward and slightly upward. A little forward. Now it's all the muscles around the waist and low back doing this action. 2 slow breaths. What you're doing with the breath is you're conducting the orchestra of the diaphragm, the lungs, and the heart. And 1. So maybe open your eyes. We're just going to switch to the other leg. One leg out, and I'm not directing what's happening with the other leg. But shift, rock right and left, find the sits bones. Those sits bones are a super important bony landmark to tell you where muscles originate and then where they insert. That's a lot of kinesiology. Press the fingers into the floor, push down to lift the spine up. Let the eyelids half close, look down sort of at your toes, and then scoop the belly muscles inward, upward. So once you're pushing down, once your gaze is set, notice that your spine's probably twisted a little bit at a 30, 40 degree angle, diagonal, I guess. Do that 3-part breath. And begin opening up the curtains that are covering your heart. We've been working on blending and shading and shaping and adding dimension, color, and sensation to your practice. And what you'll begin to notice over time is that the lessons you're learning here translate. They transform your outer world, when you're off of this mat. So by opening the curtains of the heart, you're being open for that connection that you desire. You were pushing down with the fingers. Notice if you push down, don't push down. Push down, don't push down. Push down. Notice where energy shifts. Which muscles contract? Where is their weight? Where is their lightness? Like, is one hip lifting? Is this knee over here lifting? Does it feel light? What about your shoulders and your neck? Remember that your eyes set the gaze for your internal movement. So one internal movement might be where your spine is going, but another one might be, are you putting down that to-do list? Are you fully arriving? Making your mind go a little bit further inward. One more breath. Now watch your transition as we take this knee up and to bring the sole of the foot to the floor. So I really rock onto my side. I'm really exaggerating that transition. But then when I come back, I'm looking for the hips, the weight distribution to be even as possible. If that's not happening, walk the foot out further. That's okay. It's always okay to modify and to find where you are today. I'm noticing one hip bone rocked a little back, so squeeze the low back muscle inward and forward, but also co-contract the lower belly. Interlace the hands either around the shin. I can't really reach the shin, so I'm gonna wrap it around the back of my thigh here and give it a pull. Take a deep diaphragmatic breath. Almost the very best thing you can do for your health is to breathe. Because even if the heart is doing everything that a heart should do, the arteries are open, it's pumping nice and slowly, and everything's free and clear, it doesn't matter if it's not picking up oxygen. That's really the whole key to nervous system and muscular health, is getting oxygen to everything. And then to make that happen, it's not enough to breathe, we have to move the body. So in concert, you're conducting an orchestra. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're conducting an orchestra. Heart, lungs, diaphragm. So diaphragm is kind of the conductor. It's a muscle that goes down and up, like a pump. Of course, the heart is the second pump. It's on its own rhythmic tempo. Just like orchestra, there's different tempos going on at once. Hopefully, though, they come together to make a beautiful sound. Relax your eyelids. Connect to the opening and the closing of the heart. We don't just want a heart that's like really open. We need to be able to open and close it, and then release this pose. Let's come around to hands and knees. When you get there, work on spreading the collarbones out. So there's a connection. Fingers to the floor. There's a connection. Knees, of course, to the floor. Turn the toes under here. I need to stretch the back of that Achilles tendon, back of the heel. Now notice you have 4 limbs. You've got four. You've got 4 limbs. 2 hands, two knees. And actually now we even have the feet, so we actually have 6 points of contact here. 2, 4, 6. Push down on one hand more than the other. You just shift. Then shift to the other. So like you're walking left and right, like a little subtle. Lean left, lean right. In the hands, just the hands. Then connect with what muscles are contracting and alternately releasing. Keep doing that. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Again. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Okay, keep breathing, of course, but now press evenly and stay center. Now practice lifting one knee and putting it down. Shift a little, lift the other knee and put it down. Let's do that again. Shift a little, lift one knee and down. Shift towards that knee, then lift the other knee. Now practice doing that. A slow, steady, like we're taking a walk. Then center your eyes, right, in the center of the mat. Kind of half close your eyelids. And gently, politely invite yourself a little bit further inward. So let's forget about muscles for a moment. What does it feel like to shift? How do you connect when things are shifting out from beneath you? So you do this all the time. You do this little action of shifting your body weight and moving one leg forward and then shifting your body weight, moving the other leg forward. But we never, of course, think about it. So I want you to sort of feel. I don't want to think. I want to feel it. So slow down now. Go right and left. But go a little bit more slowly, a little bit more gracefully. Notice the transition of weight from one side to the other. Notice the posture of your spine along the way. Come back to center. Let's walk the elbows a little forward. Come down to the forearms and kind of drag the forearms into the floor. By drag, I mean you're pushing down and you're also pulling back. Give this time to soak in. Keep the abdominals drawn inward and upward. Remember from our chakra discussion, we're always taking the heated, powerful, strengthened, intense energy of the lowest chakras and drawing them up to light up the heart. So we're turning on the heart so that its light, its energy can be seen and felt by others. And then we are also then open to receive. So now leaving the elbows pretty much where they are, shift the hips all the way down and back. If your arms don't go overhead, of course, let them, wiggle down. And then try bringing your fingers, maybe your palms together, and then bringing your hands like a shark fin kind of to the back of your skull. So bend the elbows. Now most of your weight is on your knees here. Almost nothing on your elbows, so be careful. Let's do that 3 count, slow pumping, orchestral breath. We're inhaling the diaphragm, the lungs, the heart, pause. Exhale the heart, the lungs, the diaphragm. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 3, 2, 1. Again, in 1, 2, 3. Out 3, 2, 1. Good. Begin making your way up. Now use mostly your legs to step 1 foot forward. What do I mean by that? I mean, don't load your arms. Not today. Let's give those arms a little break today. I'm always grabbing the blocks Just in case they're there, like little rails, like little bumpers if you were doing bowling, to keep you from going off the rails, going off the center. So one foot steps forward, then push the hips forward. Let's just notice what's there today. Our practice is ultimately guiding us and moving us, hopefully fluidly, toward a movement meditation. So let me invite some movement here. Rather than just holding on, waiting and focusing, forcing ourselves to pay attention, see if you can push the hips forward and then pushing the belly and the ribs forward. See if you can lift the arms up. See if you can extend the spine. So the arms don't have to come up for this to happen. They can stay down. And then come all the way back down. Do load the hands. That means put weight, hands on the blocks or the floor, and then lift the back knee. Push down through both feet evenly and try doing kind of that same thing. We're just still in a low lunge and we're trying to lift the arms and extend the spine. We're not coming up. The legs are in the exact same low position they were a moment ago. And then come down. Load the hands. Drop the back knee. Push the hips back. When I do this, my front foot flexes backward. And then push forward again. Nice and slow. So we're slowly, gracefully connecting the micro movements and breathe. Step back to hands and knees, but watch how you get there. Again, it's okay to not use your arms. It's okay. However you're getting there is okay. There are many paths up the mountain. It's that you're paying attention to each step you take. Just work on hands and knees pose. Now distribute your body weight more towards your knees than your hands. So it might look like you're leaning a little bit back. Then shift your hips slowly right, slowly left. I really like today's practice. It allows us to reside in a movement that feels good. This isn't about doing yoga. I'm not even, believe it or not, into doing the asana, the poses. Maybe you do know that. Look some other instructors on YouTube, you'll see these really graceful, beautiful, amazing, difficult, challenging poses. I'm about focusing and healing your mental state within the body. So as you're shifting right and left, you're beginning to notice that there's muscles around the lower belly that help you shift, but also help you stay. Come back to center. Use your legs to step the other leg forward. By that I mean don't load the arms every single time. So maybe try moving in and out of these poses differently if you're used to doing these poses. I do want to hold this one 2 or 3 breath cycles just in case. This hip flexor needs extra love and care. So the heart feeds all the parts of the body. Remember, our hips are that pivot point, so the hips really have to be healthy. Let's move a little bit. Push into the back knee and the front foot and rise up. Lift the arms, if the arms will go. Then begin to extend the spine back. This is all about opening the heart, the anahata. So it's like you're getting energy from the sun into the heart. And then come back down. Load the hands, that is, push them down into the floor. Turn the back toes. Watch the shift as you lift the back knee up. So it almost became infinitely harder there. We went from kind of a resting pose to a very active pose. Notice the transition. Push down vigorously through both legs. Load the legs. You notice that you just did that little load thing because you know we're coming up. So notice that little load thing and then do come up. Beautiful. So I did say come up, but I mean extend the heart. So the heart went from facing down, like, hey, I'm okay, to like rising up and going, this is the dawn. This is the dawn of something. Something is transitioning. Come all the way back down. Notice how it's like when you go to sit down, there's like, I'm going, and then all of a sudden you just like let go. Don't do that let go thing. Lower the back knee, but stay loaded, stay holding, and then push the hips back. So what I want to do is do that little vinyasa again so that you feel like you know where you're going, your drishti, your eyesight. The thing you're focused on is how you're manipulating the energy riding, like a little cart, riding up and down the spine and giving energy. Part of that energy is the oxygen, but part of the energy is the knowing, the feeling that I am. So we're shifting slowly into something new. Then push forward. Watch how you step back into hands and knees. You can keep the blocks or not. It's all up to you. Take one leg back, cross it over the other leg. Can you do that? And then push your hips in the direction of the leg that just did the crossing. So you're leaning your hips. Remember, hips are the pivot point and they really need to be supple. So how do we heal hips? We move them. Movement improves movement. Movement heals. I actually need this stretch a lot more probably than I do. And spend a little bit extra attention, politely, kindly. Hold for the pause. 2 breaths. All right, so watch how you come out of this. Let's go right on to the next leg because I don't really trust myself to remember to come back to this one. So we lift one leg, notice that shift, big shift there. Cross the leg behind and across the opposite side of the leg on the floor, and then lean, push your hips out. What we're stretching is like fascia. It's like connective netting. It's a hardish kind of web of steel. May not look like much, but it really does hold tight. Notice where you're anchored. Like I'm anchored all in this one hand. Not wrong, just notice where you're anchored. Because you do need to be anchored to do anything, to go anywhere, to feel anything, to act. You have to be from a place to go to a place. Write that one down. You have to be from a place to go to a place. And then unwind. Watch how you shift back. That leg then steps forward. Remember this? We're just doing the same thing. Lean forward, lunge forward. Push through the hips, squeeze that back glute, then rise up. That is, lift the arms and extend the spine. I'm going to add something here. Come up, but now turn towards, went the wrong way. Turn towards this front knee. Maybe bring your elbow to the knee or even to the outer part of the knee, and then bring the palms together. All right, maybe I don't make it that far. That's okay. So I never, ever, ever want you to bind. That is like hook a body onto the body. If like your shoulder, your neck. So if your eyes are turning all the way, let's say back, well then your spine's going to try to turn like all the way back. We don't really want that in this case. So kind of look at a diagonal in front of you, not even all the way to the side. I want you to be more careful than to get into an asana that looks like something on the top, the front of a magazine cover. Come back down. This is where we load the hands. Lift the back knee. Push the leg bones down, load both legs, and then come up into this high lunge, into a crescent high lunge. And then move back down. Watch how you land the back knee. Then push the hips back. And I even take this same side hand, hook the thumb in the crease. Remember, this is the pivot point. That's why it's important. And push that hip back. All we're doing today is using the diaphragmatic breathing to change the parasympathetic nervous system. Big words. It can be boiled down to something you don't want me to tell you, and that is calm down. You need to calm down. Let's push forward. And then watch how you step back into hands and knees. Push back into child's pose. 3 breath cycles. Let's breathe together. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Begin to lift up. Again, use your legs more than your arms to step the other foot forward. Come to that low lunge. So do push forward. Do put some effort here. Then push down through both feet to rise up into a crescent shape. So hips and ribs stay forward. The heart turns to gaze upward. I'm going to change something here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Now when you exhale, turn towards that leg. Maybe even cactus arms. See if that elbow can kind of get down onto that leg. Mine can't today. So I'm just going to bring my hands together. You can't see. Bring my hands together at the heart and just go in the direction of this twist. Notice that when I'm counting the breaths, when I'm counting for you, notice how your brain kind of goes, no, I'll breathe when I want. And it's almost like I have something else to do that's more important than you counting breaths. That's important to notice that. One more in and out. And then come down. Load the hands. Get ready. So you're about to lift that back knee. So kind of give yourself that little, what do I need to do? Turn the toe. Brace the abdominals, lift the back knee. So many of those little connections you make without ever thinking about them. So I'm asking you to think about them. Now load the legs. We're about to, I'll call it come up. So press down, rise up. Keep the hips lowering though. So head and chest, come up. Remember your mental gaze, your physical gaze are down your nose and sort of draping towards the floor, I guess is a way to say that. Another breath in and out. And then come down. Watch your transition. When do your hands touch? This is like when you're sitting down. Drop the back knee. Don't let it just collapse. Push the hips back. Once you get there, thumb into the crease of the hip, hip's the pivot point, and push the hip back. So our yoga practice is not whatever works. We're not doing these poses because these poses in and of themselves are magic. Are going to get you perfect health. This is just a place. That's why asana just means place or stay. It's just a place. It's like your mat. This is where this happens. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Watch how you come around to a seated pose. A lot of bits and pieces and parts have to figure this out as you're coming around. Notice how you do that. Go slow. We're going to try that 4-legged table. So you may not want to load these back arms. If you don't want to load the back arms, that is, you're taking care of your shoulders today, maybe just lean a little bit back and put a little bit of pressure. And that's it. If not, try bringing your hands up under your shoulders. Walk your feet up under your knees. This really takes a lot of coordinated effort to try to lift your hips up. So keep refining. You know what a 4-legged table looks like, right? This one's really easy to use guided imagery. to really use your mind in the movement. So I keep refining, like I'm sculpting. We all know Michelangelo said the sculpture is already within the stone. All I'm doing is removing everything else. So that's all you're doing, is removing everything else. Bring your mind and your drishti. Again, it's down your nose, and it's always sort of in front of your mat, towards the bottom of the wall in front of you. It's another way to think of this. You don't have to be all the way up in a four-legged table here. This is a really good heart opener. If you've worked your chest, you'd really be feeling this now. Come back down to the hips. If you did come up, I want you to lean over onto one glute, almost like you're halfway between your tailbone, the middle of your spine, and your outer hip. You're halfway. Stay holding on with your hands, but then try extending your legs up. So you're balancing on that side glute and holding. You can let go if your arms will allow you, and see if you can balance in a side hovering boat. But maybe the answer is, I'll have one hand down today. Thank you. So balance and grace and poise and posture and weight distribution, they all go together. And when it does, that's called flow. Bring the feet down. Shift to the other middle glute, I guess. So maybe shift, hold. Take a breath. Think about what you're about to do. And then maybe extend the legs. Stay holding on. Find your balance point. Remember, the hips are the pivot. They're the balance point. Maybe let go with the arms. Where is your drishti? Wherever it is, it should be downish. Keep it still, steady. Don't look around. Don't look up. Then slowly watch how you come all the way down to the back. Cross one ankle over the opposite knee. After you do that, make that ankle hard. Flex your foot back and make that ankle hard so the ankle's not flopping. We're not circling, we're not flip-flopping the leg around. And whatever leg is now on top, move both legs over in that direction. Pause when you feel something stop you. And we'll just breathe here. Now this top ankle, this top foot, has a weight to it. Imagine it's like 50 pounds, and it's sort of pushing that inner knee down. Again, there's the front part of the fascia on the side hip. Those muscles, they're connected to the fascia around the side hip. Their job is to keep the hips from moving side to side too far. They keep you center, like on railroad tracks, and not falling off right or left. So if we're talking about balance and grace and poise and movement and noticing weight distribution right and left, these muscles really take the brunt of all of that responsibility. 2 slow breaths. Keep inviting yourself to reside in this moment where I am doing self-care. Unhook the ankle. Come back to center. Watch how you get there. Watch the effect of the low back, or on the low back. Let's shift to the other. Notice how you did that. I pushed the one foot on the floor down so this leg can lift up. Harden the ankle, flex the foot back. Then slowly let the knees fall over in the other direction. So what's happening is this top ankle foot is dragging the knee down medially to the middle. The middle is the middle of your body, the axis of your spine. Stop when you feel resistance and reside. You can close your eyes so that your mental gaze, drishti, is that your mental gaze matches your physical gaze. Remember, yoga is all about unifying, bringing the mind into the body where it resides with the spirit. and it's in a peaceful, balanced state. So, bring your eyes, your gaze in. At first to the movement, or right now it's a holding. The side of the hip is receiving, the low back definitely is doing a little bit of movement. It's either a welcome movement or it's a little bit too much. This is one I have to be careful for. Bring your mental gaze to ancillary muscles like your shoulders and your neck. One more slow breath in. And out. Maybe open your eyes, maybe not. Unhook your foot. Hug your knees into your chest. The beauty of this pose, this knees to chest, this pose, by the way, is Urdhva Balasana. Balasana is child's pose. You know child's pose. I know you know child's pose. Urdhva means upward facing. So this is just upward facing child's pose. So this pose has the same purpose as child's pose. It's just that the heart now is facing up. Up is where we receive like enlightenment. We receive like a higher connection. The earth is where we receive energy, where we receive the nourishment to be in a physical body. 2 slow breaths. So for example, right now my low back is receiving like this good support, this good earthy, strong stability. Then move into Shavasana. The arms and legs spin open as they stretch out long. Arch, or I should say micro arch the low back. Find a place where you can get very comfortable. Drop your mental gaze into your anchor, this place of peace, tranquility. As you inhale now, begin to energize your next movement. As you exhale, begin to roll onto your side. Again, inhale. Hold the breath. And then as you exhale, open your eyes and watch how you make your way up into Sukhasana, easy, simple, sweet pose. We'll cover the heart with the hands, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale the heart. Exhale the heart. One more time. Inhale the heart. Exhale the heart. Open your eyes, lift your head. Bring your palms together. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come back into the heart center. I bow to you and your beauty that resides. Namaste.